This program creates a personalized weekly fitness and nutrition plan based on users' preferences. If it asks for the user's fitness goal, workout type, dietary needs, and workout frequency, it will then generate a custom 7-day schedule with daily workouts, meals, snacks, and extra tips. The file is titled Paul's Unit 4 Assignment Repetition. Alright, so let's begin with the overall look and readability of my program. You'll notice that just after the main methods introduced, that each space has now an exact 4-space indents. So you notice a bunch of use of white space and empty lines. For example, for this array of strings, they're bunched together because they all have a similar function, making sure the program looks clean. So starting at the top, I added my scanner class so that my program can read input from the end user, and then you'll see that my public class is titled main, just to represent the file name, main.java. Alright, so let's begin with these lines. As you can see, these are output strings as they request the user to input their fitness goal, for example, starting at the top, which should be either weight loss or muscle gain. So if I were to start the program, and I did muscle gain right here, that's going to go into this fitness variable, this fitness goal. And the reason I'm able to do this is because two lowercase, as you can see, my gain over here is all capitalized. This two lowercase is going to function to convert this into all lowercase when it comes to the program, as well as this dot trim in case the user accidentally adds white space, such as blank lines or an extra space. It will convert it and remove it before bringing it into the program. So the rest of these output strings have a similar function, but if you notice that there's a while loop that continues executing as long as the condition that if the user does not enter either weight loss or muscle gain is still true, the logical not operator, this right here, negates the Boolean values, and the logical AND operators, these over here, ensures that both conditions must be true. So essentially, if I were to enter incorrectly muscle gain or weight loss, I did something else, it would ask me to do it again until it's proven true. So if I were to run the program again, and instead of putting muscle gain or weight loss, I put pizza, it's going to ask me, it's going to tell me invalid input. Please enter either weight loss or muscle gain. So if I did it correctly this time, it's not going to give me an error message, but instead it's going to move on and prompt me for the next value, which would be a preferred workout type, and after that would be a dietary restriction. So if I were to put in cardio, for example, cardio is going to go into this external variable, workout type. And if I were to put in none for my dietary restrictions, that none is going to go into this dietary restriction variable. And just like all of these, if I were to enter it incorrectly, it would ask me to do it again, as it would be an invalid input. Moving down, you'll see that it will now ask me how many days a week does the user or me want to work out in a week. So if I were to put in 6, that 6 value will now go into this uninitialized variable right over there. So this is what declaring an integer variable named workout days to store the user's input. And this while true, so this is creating an infinite loop that will continue until explicitly broken with a break statement. And inside this loop, I have a try catch. So in the try section, if it attempts to read the user's input as an integer using scanner.next integer, and if the user actually enters a number, it then checks if it's within the valid range of 1 and 7. So using an if statement and logical AND operators, as you can see. So if it's valid, it breaks to exit the loop and continues with the rest of the program. But if they enter an integer that's outside the range, like 0 or 15, the else block runs, displaying an error message and prompting them again. So for example, if I run the program, and I did muscle gain, I did yoga, I did vegetarian, and if I were to do, instead of between 1 and 7, I did 50, for example, it's going to say invalid. It's going to ask me to do it again. And so if I did 5, it will now be okay, it'll be valid. So that 5 will now be initialized in this workout days. And the really cool part about this catch is that this catch block is that if the user types something that's non-integer at all, like 5 or ABC, scanner.next integer throws an exception. So the catch block handles this by showing an error message, reprompting the user, and most importantly, calling the scanner.next line, this right over here, to clear that invalid input from the scanner's buffer. So you can see that once more. If I were to put muscle gain, yoga, none, and if I put BCC, it's going to say invalid, but once again, it's now going to be removed and cleared from the scanner's buffer. So now heading down to the first process of my program, you'll notice that this is just an array of strings that initializes the days of the week, Monday through Sunday, as well as exercises for cardio, strength, and yoga, as well as regular meals, vegetarian meals, and gluten-free meals such as grilled salmon or roasted vegetables. And coming down over here, this for loop uses a loop control variable day to iterate exactly 7 times, representing each day of the week. So the initialization starts at 0, and then the condition checks if it's under 7. The day would be under 7, and the increment advances the counter. And you'll notice that I added a little /n. This is just to create a new line so it looks a bit cleaner and starts under what was previously sent. So this conditional statement here, it just uses a relational operator to determine if the current day should include a workout based on the user's specified frequency. So this switch expression matches the workout type variable against the cases. So there's the 3 cases here, and then you have a default. So in each case, it returns a randomly selected exercise, as you can see using the math.random function, multiplied by the array length and cast to an integer for array indexing. So the random random selection utility in math.random, it's going to generate a random exercise, ensuring variety in the workout plan. So you'll notice this, if I were to put 5 here, for example, you'll notice that each day it's going to have a new plan. So it's going to say child's pose, downward dog, bridge pose, tree pose, child's pose. That's always going to be different for each day, just making sure there's variety for the user. And down here, you'll notice this is our first main output section of the program. So this is where the user is presented with the workout along with extra tips. So here we have a variety of conditional statements like if, else if, and else to ensure that the related message is given depending on the user's input. And this switch expression over here is going to assign a different snack string to the snack variable based on the user's dietary restriction of vegetarian or gluten-free, or if they have no dietary restrictions, which would just be default. So it goes the same with the meals along with the snacks. It's the same function. And just under the print statement for the snack, you're going to see that there's an arithmetic expression that calculates an increasingly daily target by adding 5,000 base steps plus 500 additional steps multiplied by the current day. So you'll notice that on Monday it says walk 5,000 steps, but Tuesday it'll say 5,500, then 6,000, then 6,500, and so on and so on and so forth. And to finish the program, you know, I added a little output for these print statements to give the user some recommendations for both hydration, sleep, and stretching. So if I were to run this program all over again, and I did muscle gain, then I did yoga, and then I said I was vegetarian, and then work out 6 days a week. It's not going to be my personalized weekly plan. So my first workout is going to be child's pose. It's going to give me my focus for high intensity strength training as I chose muscle gain for my workout type and my fitness goal. And then it's going to give me my main meal, tofu scramble, as well as snacks. So it's going to give me fresh fruits with nuts and seeds, and it's going to advise me to walk 5,000 steps today, and I'll increase throughout the week, and I'll get a new workout throughout the week. And at the bottom, you'll notice that it's going to give me some weekly recommendations for my hydration, to drink at least 2 liters of water daily. For sleep, aim for at least 7 to 9 hours, and for stretching, at least 10 minutes a day.